Well, hello people. This is impromptu, much more impromptu than my other videos where I generally have a very well formulated line of topic and thought. However, it's come together in the end through a convoluted bit of research and amalgamating a combination of attachment styles, some a particular section of psychology called defense mechanisms. Now, the person that came up with these defense mechanisms has not a great name in psychology because his basis of research was essentially neurotic middle-aged housewives. So you can work out who I'm talking about because I don't want people just dismissing the entire video on the premise that someone whose work was questionable actually did some excellent work on formulating defense mechanisms. Now, yes, the video is about attachment style. We will get to it, but I think a little bit of background information never hurts. So defense mechanisms we see every day, and particularly on social media, you see it a lot. You see a lot of psychological projection where people are very quick to call the other person an idiot, and quite often the person being called the idiot isn't the idiot, and you can work out who the idiot is, particularly if someone's just read a billboard or the um, headline of a questionable magazine and they're trying to argue with someone who's got masters, PhDs, even diplomas or any formal education in an area and maybe even teachers in an area. But someone's read the headline of a newspaper put out by a very biased sector of the community, and there's no willingness to shift. So the easiest thing to do is lift yourself up to a position of, I clearly know more than that person, even if I've only read 5 words, as opposed to someone with 10 years of study. So anyway, the point of that is there's a myriad of these defense mechanisms. There's transference, denial, there's intellectualization, which gets used a lot, where people become very disengaged from emotional connection and intellectualize something. And this pops up in fearful avoidant and particularly in dismissive avoidant. And so the sort of kernel of the video is actually comes from a very awkward situation I was placed in. And the only way I can work out on how to do these videos, because I don't want a purely textbook clinical approach to this, because people don't connect through words and text. They connect through emotion. So I've got no hesitation in discussing a lot of stuff that's happened to me, and I am open slather to be attacked. And that's the way life on planet Earth is, because of the rather manufactured need of some people to feel better than someone else. And I don't subscribe to this theory at all. And I won't go into really cold, hard reasoning behind it. But people have a need to feel better because it's encouraged that you should be the top of the class, you should be the best, you should be number one. It's ingrained in our society. There's some cultures where that actually doesn't matter. And a lot of people struggle with that. Because if someone goes, we're all equal, people feel incredibly offended by that they've done a lot of hard work to excel in the field, and that's fine. So this cycles in a very long way back to a particular person. So let me, okay, so let's not make it about me. Let's make it about a friend. Okay, so a friend was going to go to Russia. He's always wanted to go to Russia. He's always wanted to travel to another country. And he just happened to have some friends in Slavic countries and other countries, Mexico, all around the world. So the wonders of the internet, right? We probably have friends in all remote corners of the world. It's a very standardized lifestyle that's on planet Earth in 2025 with the internet. It's been around, kicking around for like 30, 40 plus years now. So, and it's enabled lots of traveling. It brings about Airbnb. It's enabled, you can book a flight online. It's opened up incredible avenues to people. And in amongst it all, it's all driven by Homo sapiens who have attachment styles, who want love, who want connection, and who unfortunately may make mistakes. Hopefully we learn from the mistakes. Some of us don't. I know I repeat some mistakes and they get a little bit less each time, but you know, there's sayings like hindsight's a wonderful thing. These, these sayings are created from a lot of despair, a lot of sorrow, despair, misfortune, losses, great losses, emotionally, financially, physically. We all carry our wounds, we carry our different levels of trauma. And I guess some of us like to think we're perfect. And if you are those people, congratulations on being perfect, because there's a lot of us who haven't reached that esteemed level of competence yet. So the flaws of the Homo sapiens species. So the need to fit in, the group dynamic, the mob mentality, if you will. I mean, look at the outcasts in society of like, can you imagine if people didn't forge forward and break from the norm? I often say, someone like the Wright brothers wanting to fly, if they didn't pursue the dream of being different, we wouldn't have that travel I was talking about. If someone didn't go, I think I can make a device where we could talk to someone in another country, like a phone. And say if everyone just said, don't be ridiculous, that's just absurd, that wouldn't ever happen. What if all these people who were great inventors just listened to the mob and go, oh, you're right, I better not do that. So we could be sitting in caves in the dark with no communication if people didn't push back against the mob mentality. So, and this is where attachment style hooks into all of it, because there's a lot of people out there seeking a relationship because they think they should be in one. Okay. And this goes against probably my last video of the people denying themselves being in a relationship when they probably should be, or it's an innate desire that we are in relationships. And I went into the whole the whole question of if you are truly, truly, truly happy and healthy being alone and it's detrimental to your health and it's detrimental to the other person involved in the relationship, that's fine if you're not in a relationship. But the other video was about you denying yourself and running with the mob mentality of the people who go, I don't need a person. And that person over there is as damaged as me, and I'll sit with them. And you get these groups of quite damaged, hurt people who aren't willing to do the work and heal or admit they've made mistakes. And they'd rather suffer in silence than come out and go, I was an idiot for going out with that person. What a fool I was to jump on that plane. It's like, there's sayings like we learn from our mistakes. So this video is the intersection of what's in Gary Chapman's Love Languages book, Protest Behavior, how it links into or compares to defense mechanisms, which in turn links into the 4 attachment styles. So I've noticed a pattern, okay? So I'm going to give myself a metaphorical pat on the back that since educating myself in this field, I can nearly correctly pick an attachment style from messaging. Now, a lot happens in messaging. If someone's busy at work and they're doing their best to stay connected to you and the messages are short and sharp and they might miss something you say, you can misconstrue what's going on, okay? But if it's a regular pattern, say 5 to 10 messages carry the same pattern, it's a safe bet if you think this person's dismissive, this person's anxious, this person's secure, this person's fearful. If you see this consistency, you could be correct. And hopefully you might just work it out and go, we're not compatible. And people go, oh, but you've got to meet the person. Oh, you've got to live with the person. I can tell you that pretty much if I'd gone back and read through some text messages and analyzed it and thought, I reckon this person fits in this box, right? I could have avoided myself years of heartache and run with the, oh, okay. So, people say you don't know someone until you live with them. Well, I know plenty of people who have lived with people and said they still didn't know them after 25 years. Some husbands walk out on people. Some people cheat on people. A lot happens in decades. So I would call that particular line of thought a very contentious point. I think in romance and love, in some ways, even though my videos appear that I'm laying out some pebbles of knowledge that someone somewhere might find a little bit useful, a lot will probably find it's complete tripe and an utter waste of everyone's time, and that's fine as well. So it's in the discussion that my friend had. So he's a social animal, and there's a bit of anxious attachment style. So if he's in a relationship and it crashes and burns, anxiety kicks in and a need for connection raises its head. So they might reconnect with someone they haven't spoken to for 5 years. So they might go, I wonder what so-and-so is doing. There's never been like a defined end of communication. You might just have people sitting in WhatsApp or Viber and life got in the way, and and then you might think about, I used to have quite good chats with that person, or I wonder how they're going. we may or may not have those people in our life. I have a lot of people like that in my life because I don't particularly, unless it's a very well defined, we don't get along, and I'm very much opposed to your viewpoint on that, and I'm not willing to shift on it. Then you'll block, delete, archive the chat, and that's a pretty finite step. But if there's people just ambling around going, oh, chatted for 3 weeks or whatever. So I reconnected, or my friend reconnected to someone that was from a dating site, and dating sites let us define a dating site. You have the ability to tick, I'm just after friendship, I'm after casual dating, I'm after, some even have friends with benefits. Some have romance, some have a long-term relationship, and some have marriage. Now, I think nearly all of us are very guilty of not going through profiles with fine-tooth combs and reading like every singular word, looking at ages, heights, weights, if there's children, if they smoke, if they don't smoke, their likes, dislikes, and the relationship they're after. Sometimes a lot of that stuff's not put in there. Sometimes people see themselves very differently in their mind to what they are in real life. Particularly the smoking, non-smoking, drinking, non-drinking thing, it can be a bombshell. You can go to another country on the understanding that someone didn't smoke or drank, and you never had the opportunity to see if they did, and get there and they could be a full-blown alcoholic and smoke 3 packets of cigarettes a day, and it could be a complete shock, and you could go, well, I wouldn't have come over if I'd known that. So this person, so there was a woman, and this guy just worked out there's no attraction in this, and he might have gone, I don't even know why I wrote this person. Maybe just there was some aspect they liked, and this conversation came up where this person was invited to this other country by this woman. Now, this guy had come out of a relationship. He wasn't ready for one, and he had some downtime, and he's in a position he could travel. And then he thought, well, maybe I'll go stay with this person. They've given me a formal invitation to stay with them. They would be housed, hosted, and shown around as a tourist. All very innocent. And then things went very, very bad, where the guy applied for a visa that took like a month and put a bit of time and effort into all of this, and even put a couple of things on hold. And then in the very final week of booking the ticket, this particular woman has decided to push a ultimatum that if you stay with me, you need to be pursuing a romantic interest in me. Now, this particular person on more than one occasion had made it perfectly clear that it was going to be a holiday, an opportunity to see country they hadn't been to, an opportunity to be with someone that spoke English in a country that English wasn't its main language. And then this guy panicked. I am not attracted to the woman. I wouldn't want to lie in a bed with this woman, let alone be romantically involved. And it put this guy in a very difficult position. And so what's the upshot? The upshot of this is, if more attention had been paid in the messaging, and I've got to admit, this conclusion only was really arrived at like nearly 2 months later. They were dismissive avoidant. And yeah, so my friend missed it, and my friend should have known a lot better. And there were red flags. There's red flags all along the way, and some of it was misconstrued that this woman who'd been married for 38 years, husband died, hasn't dated, said they did work on themselves for the last 11 years, and just basically became a babushka and was a grandmother. And that basically was her role in life. She cooked and babysat. That was it. And then because this guy had just said, "Hi, how are you?" This person fabricated in their head that my friend had a romantic interest. And this woman would send photos to the guy. The guy would not comment on the photos, never said one singular word of indicating romantic interest. So this comes into defense mechanisms, right? So clearly this person had actually said that they had felt they were ready to engage in a relationship. And so they're projecting this onto my friend, basically going, because they want the relationship. In their mind, they're going, clearly, this guy is very interested in me. He said hello for the second time in 5 years. So it's just an obvious green flag. He wants to run off and marry me. I mean, that's literally the context of it, right? So, and and this woman has the audacity to like lecture my friends, "Oh, so you would like to maybe find a wife in another country. But what you have to do is look in another country and find a woman. Then you would have to tell that woman that you liked her. Then you would have to tell that woman that you would move there." And like my friend is listening to that just in horror going, this is so glaringly obvious, and you think that this isn't like something known to do. Um, it's like saying, "Oh, if you're feeling hungry, you need to go and eat something." It's sort of, you don't think it needs to be said, but but I think this person is mirroring their own ignorance. So, um, it's just a warning signs. So how do you work out the dismissive? They dismiss your emotions. So say if you said, my cat died today, they would then not respond to that and go, "Oh, I've got my grandson coming over this afternoon." You could go, "I lost my job today." And they would just go, "I've got some pies in the oven." Okay. This is literally their communication style. And you could go, "How about we read the attached book?" And they might go, "Well, that could be interesting. All right." And then it never happens. So any video arrangement calls don't happen. They don't show up on time. They don't read the book. There's no discussion around it. So dismissive. So my big point, I get really confused on this because I think dismissive. What's dismissive? Dismissive means, I always think of army movies of dismissed, turn around, face away from me and walk away from me. I want nothing to do with you. Class dismissed. Go out of that door and don't come back until tomorrow. So dismissive avoidant. So they are dismissing you in addition to avoiding you. Like it's this huge thing. However, these dismissive avoidants are humans, and they will crave intimacy, more the act of sex than actual emotional intimacy. They will be more like the ones that you would jump into bed, finish the act, jump out of bed, get dressed, and go and play golf. There wouldn't be cuddling. There wouldn't be, emotional investment in it. It would be a purely, literally like a couple of dogs in a dog park. It's like one humps, the other one hops off and runs off. Humans do it. So that's more like a definition of sex, right? As opposed to romance things of, you could see a couple having a whole weekend in bed where they can't get enough of each other, and they eat and sleep, and there's affection and genuine intimacy, and they are bonding. So the dismissives are dismissive. So they might even have sex with a partner and sleep in another room. And there's all the reasons that some women are like, oh, it's too hot, or he kicks his legs, or they snore, and on and on. But I will say that double beds were made for a reason. There's a reason beds are made big enough to have two people in them. And that reason is so that two people can sleep in a bed together, believe it or not. So this person is dismissive avoidant, but they think they should have a relationship because, particularly in Slavic culture, there's still a lot of stigma attached to the older women from the USSR period of they're not a complete woman if they're not in a relationship. And there is also the provider role of the male still exists in these countries. In fact, there was an interesting video the other day. I wanted to follow up on it and actually ask some friends, where a woman was actually doing this on Life in Russia and said 26 years of age is considered too old to give birth. You considered old birth at 26 years of age in Russia. So to say it's a different mindset is an understatement. Some people just want to pretend we're all the same, but culture is your defining difference. And culture can also incorporate religion. So let's not go down that path. So this woman, so my friend has just gone, you know what, I can't do it. I'm not coming over with the pressure that I am supposed to somehow be romantic with you when I have no attraction to you. This is going to be a complete waste of a time. It's going to be a very awkward situation. And I am not going to be given an ultimatum that I literally have to come over and be romantic with you. So the person found someone else to stay with, and that's a story for another video. So I'm going to quickly just round this up, and the rounding up will probably be longer than the intro. The intro was quite full of lots of anecdotes, wasn't it? So let's I'm going to just whiz through this, okay? I generally don't read off the screen. I don't like doing it, but I will add little anecdotes in. So why a dismissive avoidant might push for romantic terms. And this was my question. This person's dismissive. They don't care if the person's cat died. They wouldn't care if they lost their job. They wouldn't care if they broke their arm. They're not interested in that. They're dismissed. They won't engage in an emotional investment. And at the same time, they want a romantic, well, in their terms, romantic relationship. They want a connection to a human being, right? As long as it's on their terms. So I always say, why does a dismissive bother? Why does a dismissive bother? They have no concept of love. They can't love. They don't know what love is, but they see people together and think, maybe I should do that. Or maybe if I had a wife, I could climb a career ladder more ably. So there's usually a hidden agenda to it. It can be a trophy wife, husband. Oh, I'm the complete person. I know a lot of Russian women actually feel incomplete. My friend was in that category. It's like, I think this person thought she has a good job, she owns properties, she's successful. But when she came up against a friend who had a partner, she felt she was lacking. She felt, I don't have a man. If I get a man, I'll be complete. And that was essentially her entire reason for going on a dating site, was the trophy husband. So her friends who were married couldn't judge her anymore and go, well, you don't have a husband, do you, my dear? And they can go, well, look, I do now. And that was literally their entire motivation for going on a dating site and finding someone. There was no interest in romance. There was no interest in reciprocation of emotion. It was entirely to like pin a badge on their chest. That's seriously the entire motivation of traveling countries, getting engaged, hours of visa work. It was just wild. So dismissive avoidants often want relationships on their own terms, by defining the interaction as romantic from a distance. They keep a sense of control. Fearful avoidants do the same, you know. And they go, if it's going to happen, it happens in my way. And they set clear framework. Okay, so there's surface level romantic versus true vulnerability. Sometimes dismissive avoidant will label something as romantic because it's a script they understand. It's a structured role romantic partner that feels safer than a messy, undefined connection. Yeah, that's the other thing. So they want order in the chaos. They don't want mushy, intangible stuff. You're this, and that's it. There's no debate around it. So yeah, they don't like ambiguous. So yeah, I mean, I think with that person seriously thinking, because some guy had said hello twice in 5 years, they wanted to marry them. I think there was a bit of criticism that they weren't very smart, but it could be more their coping mechanism. So I think we can have a look at defense mechanisms. So what happens inside the dismissive? Projection. So they might be attributing their own feelings or a desire for validation to you. So they're actually thinking they have these feelings about, if I snavel this guy, I'll feel great. And clearly that guy must think I'm so incredibly awesome because I would just make their life so much better. That goes on. That's projection. Denial or rationalization. So when this guy, my friend, confronted this person, go, do you realize the difficult position you've put me in? I'm about to book a plane ticket. I've committed to the trip, and you are now saying I can't stay with you. I said, that guy put off a teaching course. He put off a possible minor surgery, something that could be done later. There was a lot of commitment in traveling. And then this person just goes, well, that's nothing to do with me. Dismissive behavior. And I think this person actually let this person have a piece of their mind about the absurdity that they think they know men and know how to have a relationship, when it's pretty obvious they don't have a single solitary clue on how to communicate to a mature age person when their only connection to some male is their own son, who they've got a leadership role over, and a grandson who is a child. So, they can think they know what they want, but let's just be honest here. A lot of women don't have a clue how to communicate to men. They might think they know all about it. Men are more willing to go, we don't have a clue about women. Men will sit there and go, where's the instruction manual? Men will openly go, I have no clue how women operate and how they think. But you'll find women go, oh, I know everything about men. I know just the way they look at me. I know what they're thinking. It's like it's highly probable that you don't have a single solitary clue either, but you can't admit it because you're just so afraid of being wrong. And that's something you need to work on. So, because a smart person actually admits when they're wrong. It's generally the not smart people who have a lot of trouble saying, oh, it's completely wrong in that area. So we'll quickly run through defense mechanisms. There's repression. It's unconsciously pushing uncomfortable thoughts, memories, or desires out of conscious awareness, basically burying the stuff you don't want to deal with. Projection, we've done. Displacement. So what's this one? Redirecting emotions from original source to a safer substitute, like, oh, yelling at your friend because you're mad at your boss. That's also I used to know that that was transference is the way I learnt it. Bad day at work, go home and kick the cat. Yeah, okay. Rationalization, creating seemingly logical reason or excuse for behaviors or feelings that might otherwise be embarrassing. Dismissives are brilliant at this, utterly, utterly brilliant at this, where they won't really accept any flaws in themselves and it's always you. And denial, refusing to accept reality of facts, you know? It's like if my friend said, well, my dear woman, if my friend in Germany sends me a photo and she looks beautiful, I will go, you look very beautiful in that dress. Or you might go, your eyes are sparkling very nicely today, right? So for the women out there that might need to know this, if you send photos to a man and there's no response, it's possible they have no interest. So don't sit there and go, he didn't come back and go, I'm fat, ugly, and stupid. If they said nothing, it's just probably they're being polite and just don't want to say, well, thanks for the photo. My friend said nothing in response to photos, but if they got photos from female friends they thought were attractive, or they had no qualms about going, oh, you look beautiful in that dress. A man who is emotionally mature will express that because there's no one's getting hurt in it, right? And there's nothing wrong with recognizing beauty in the world. It's not done enough as far as I'm concerned. So it's even something like I have said to people, me personally, I like to buy flowers for a partner. And I actually don't mind seeing a bunch of roses sitting on the dining room table in a vase and having a nice smell. I don't have a problem with it. And men can be corny and go, a beautiful woman deserves beautiful things. It's like people still exist in the world that say things like that. So where do we get to? Regression, reverting behaviors from early stage of development. Yeah, like throwing your toys out of the pram, as my favorite YouTuber said about one guitarist recently. What's this one? Sublimation, channeling unacceptable impulses into socially acceptable, productive activities, turning aggression energy into sport. So done. Okay. Reaction formation, saying the opposite what you actually feel. See, a lot of that goes on. And also a lot of people just go silent. You know, they might have a lot to say and they just clam up. Intellectualization, we've touched on, where you rationalize things. Fantasy, we've touched on. So what else is left? I have probably bored everyone to the point no one's watching, and that is fine. So I'm just scrolling to get to some meaty bits to read out. So I do not want to pause this, but we will just find out. I got some research done on. So here's fearful avoidant, conflicted dynamics. Individuals who are fearful avoidant have internal conflict. Okay, so I've got other videos where they have the push pull, comes from caregivers not being consistent, yelling at them one day, cuddling them next, so that the fearful avoidant don't know, have a fear of what could happen. So then they jump into the avoidant side. So secure don't engage in protest behavior. So secure have a healthy communication style. So if there's problems, they'll talk it through. They'll sit you down, and two secures talk it out. Anxious attachment, protest behaviors, admittedly quite childish, and it can be, you can shut them out or you can storm off, and it's not healthy, it's maladaptive. So dismissive protest behaviors, basically they just shut you out, and that's it. So protest behaviors and secure attachment, they're very healthy, right? So they're emotionally available, they might need their own time, and that's sort of it. So your anxious attachment, protest behavior is clinginess. They can send you 1,000 text messages a day seeking validation. They can also fabricate jealousy, be anxious if they don't hear from you. They can actually fixate on you and be preoccupied. And their defense mechanisms are projection, repression, displacement, rationalization. Yeah. They'll go, oh, I went down the pub drinking because I didn't think you were in love with me anymore. So avoidant attachment style, emotional withdrawal, minimization. Exactly. Minimization is a good one. They just go, I don't think it's working. I think you imagined how much I was in love with you, even if you've got 10 cards sitting in the corner with them saying, you're the best girlfriend, boyfriend in the world. I never thought I could have this, etc. Doesn't matter if that's written out, but then they can just go, I don't think it'll work because blah, because they're going into avoidance or fear. Denial, they won't let themselves feel. They deny their own emotions. It's like, I want to be loved, I'm in love, but something's going to go wrong. Runaway Bride. I will reference Runaway Bride until I don't breathe anymore, because I'm so glad that movie got made, because it's just so much easier to reference a well-known classic, that's referenced. It's go watch Runaway Bride if you want a concept around fearful avoidant, and how someone can actually want to marry someone and not at the last moment, and you have to work out the reasons why, like why someone gets that close to it, because they actually want it, but irrational fear stops it happening. So, and that's the hardest thing to explain to friends and that, because people may not be aware of fearful avoidance, only 7% of the population. Then you've got dismissive, where they are generally not interested, right? But a dismissive won't. A dismissive avoidant will not write you cards going, you're the best boyfriend, girlfriend in the world. They will not probably even send you flowers. They will probably not lie in bed with you and say, I'm so happy being with you. I never thought I could have this. They will not introduce you to family. There is a distinct difference, people, between fearful avoidant and dismissive. A dismissive avoidant will not at any time express emotion, and that's your defining difference, okay? That's where if someone is talking to you about a partner that expressed years of heartfelt emotion and then calls it off at the last moment, that is fearful avoidant. It is not dismissive avoidant. The dismissive doesn't love. They don't miss you. It's like something that really needs to be defined. And it's like if you've got a hammer and a spanner, they are two different things. Fearful avoidant, dismissive avoidant are two different things. They share the word avoidant, but dismissive is see you later, there's the door. Fearful is I'm overwhelmed, I need space, I'm safe here, and there may be a time where they go, I'm missing you, but will you have me back? Will you reject me? And all of this stuff goes on. Okay. So, I think we might just wrap it up at that. I don't think there's much to talk about. I wanted it to be a lot more involved than what it was, but I am not very prepared. So if there's any questions on anything, or you need more explanation on something, or even case studies or examples, you can all talk amongst yourselves. Clearly the channel is young. It will probably just die with a whimper. It won't go out with a bang. There's no question about that. But it's the age-old thing of, if there's one person out there struggling, like I've struggled and many of us have struggled, and we just need a little bit of comfort, a little bit of reassurance that what we're going through at any given time, we are not alone. Someone has experienced exactly the same thing as you. You are not alone in enduring heartache, in enduring suffering, in enduring complete loneliness, in enduring absolute alienation from the human race where you don't feel any connection to anyone. You are feeling utterly and completely drained emotionally, where getting off the couch to put some peanut butter on some bread could be your biggest achievement in the day. We have nearly all crashed and burned and gone into the deepest, darkest depths of our lives. It is sometimes you're in a bottomless pit and you don't see light. You just need to get or have the understanding you can reach out, but reach out to someone that understands. But as I say, if my horrid monotone voice is in any way soothing to someone, or just my anecdotes of making horrid decisions, wasting years of my life, not learning lessons, and they can look at me and laugh and go, what a complete, utter fool that he's done a YouTube channel, and you'd laugh, then the time sitting in front of this camera has been worth it. So everyone take care and tell someone they're beautiful.